Hi everyone, I'm Jane Trotter and this is Accelerando Piano. In your musical exploration, you may have come across phrases like every good boy deserves fruit or all cows eat grass. But do you know what they actually mean and how to apply them? Over the years, I've had so many students comment, "Oh yeah, I've heard of them," or "We've covered that in music class at school, but I've got no idea what they mean." Stay tuned. All will be revealed in today's tutorial. These phrases are mnemonics. They're designed to help you work out and remember the letter names of the notes. They're by no means the only way to work out what a note is, and have much more to do with note naming rather than note reading. This is an important distinction, which I will be covering in future tutorials. For the moment, let's just say that note naming will tend to analyse notes more on an individual, discrete basis, whereas note reading focuses more on the distance, patterning, and relationship of successive notes as they occur in the music. To get things started, I first want to introduce you to the different characteristics of a note, because knowing these will give you a better understanding of how the mnemonic works. Check out this chart. There are 5 fundamental characteristics. Firstly, what is the note's letter name? Our musical alphabet uses the first 7 letters of the alphabet, A through to G. Where is the note located on the stave? Is it on a line or on a space? Does it appear near the top or bottom of the stave? Where is this particular note located on the keyboard or on whatever instrument you play? What does the note sound like? Is its pitch high or low? And finally, how many beats is the note worth? Do you hold it for 2 beats or 4 or just half a beat? We often don't consciously think about all of these contributing elements, but rather lump everything together. But it's really helpful, especially when starting out, to have an appreciation of all the different pieces of information you're absorbing when you're looking at a note. You can download this chart and all the other charts, which I'll be using in this tutorial, from the resources page on my Accelerando Piano website. I'll put a link in the description below. Okay, let's dive into the different phrases or mnemonics to help you remember the letter names. Now, if we think about the characteristics of a note chart, what these mnemonics are doing is linking the first 2 characteristics, the letter name of the note and where to find the note on the stave. Here are the phrases for the treble clef notes. Notice that the notes have been divided into space notes and line notes. Space notes fit in between the lines, and line notes are on the line, or in other words, they have the stave line running through the middle of them. Also note that I've included a very small middle C on the chart as a reference point. This is so you can see where the notes are located in relation to middle C's position on the stave. Let's have a look at the space notes first. Working our way up from the bottom, the space notes spell out the word face. And it's nice and easy to remember because space rhymes with face. For the line notes, we've got the mnemonic, every good boy deserves fruit. This phrase has been around forever. I knew about it when I started learning over 4 decades ago. Let's turn to the bass clef notes. Again, they're organised into line and space notes. For our space notes, we have all cows eat grass beautifully. And for the line notes, green buses drive fast always. These phrases are probably the most common that you'll encounter and have stuck in people's minds over the years. But you don't have to exclusively use these. You can make up anything you like with the starting letters. For example, green buses drive fast always could become giant birds don't fly away. One of my adult students was an electrician, and to make it easier to remember, he came up with phrases that were particularly relevant to him and his occupation. So you've got lots of flexibility. Use your imagination. Remember, for your reference, you can download these pages from the resources page on my Accelerando Piano website. So, you now know how to link the letter name of a note with its location on the stave. You can name the note. So far, so good. In order to play the note, you need to know an additional piece of information. Check in on our characteristics of a note chart. We obviously need to include where the note is found on the keyboard. As this isn't strictly in the brief for this tutorial, I'm not going to go into the specifics here, but I will direct you to my short tutorial titled How to Work Out the Letter Names on the Keyboard, and that will explain everything for you. From that tutorial, you can download this resource, which has some tips for how to remember what letter name goes with what key on the piano. For example, D is in between the two black keys. So imagine a hound dog with its long ears blowing up in the wind. D for dog. Okay, we've now got the three elements we need to name a note and find it on the keyboard. Let's use this note as an example. If we start with a note on the stave, we can work out its letter name using the mnemonic. It's in the bass clef, and it's a space note. It's in the third space up, all cows eat. It's an E, the E below middle C. Then, using the letter name, we can work out where that note is on the keyboard. Remember D for dog, the hound dog with its two ears blowing up in the wind? D is in the middle of the two black keys, so E is one note higher. Here's an extra tip for quickly linking the letter name of a note on the stave with where to find that note on the keyboard. It's a very visual prompt. If we take our bass clef space notes again, notice how they're a skip apart. In other words, we've skipped over or left out the line notes in between. The notes on the stave are not adjacent. Adjacent notes would be a step apart, a space note followed by the line note next door. Because our space notes move by skip on the stave, they'll also move by skip on the keyboard, so you'll leave out a white key going between each one. Knowing this will help you to map out the letter names on the keyboard quickly and systematically. For instance, say you can comfortably locate the C below middle C on the keyboard, but aren't as quick at finding or naming all of the other notes. Think of that C as your cow, and the other notes in the mnemonic will fall into place, both on the stave and on the keyboard, using the skip pattern as your framework. An E is a skip to the right, and an A is a skip to the left. So, in what sort of circumstances would we use these mnemonics? Well, they're very helpful for determining your starting note of a piece, particularly if it's not very close to middle C. If there's a large leaf in a piece and you need to work out the note you've got to shift to, a quick reference to one of these phrases may help in the analysis. If you're practicing and suddenly have a mental block, a brain fade, you lose concentration and can't work out the next note, the mnemonics are a great backstop, which you can always refer to help get yourself back on track. And in your theory work, if you're doing some exercises and aren't at the piano, knowing a quick way of identifying the notes independent from your instrument is really helpful. Of course, the piano uses both the treble and bass clefs, but other instruments don't. For example, the flute's notes are only written in the treble clef. So for a flute player doing their theory, Having a method of accurately determining the bass clef notes is important and necessary, particularly if they're sitting theory exams where knowledge of both clefs is required. There you have it, a quick summary of the phrases to help you remember the letter names of the notes. These mnemonics link the letter name of a note with its location on the stave and are best used as a prompt to assist with finding specific notes. As I mentioned at the start, they're more to do with note naming as opposed to note reading. Note naming tends to centre on notes in isolation, whereas note reading is more inclusive, focusing on the patterning, direction, and distances between the notes as they occur in the music. I'll have more on this in a future tutorial, so keep a lookout. You won't need to use these mnemonic prompts forever. Gradually, as you gain more experience, you'll find that a note's position on the stave, its location on the keyboard, and its letter name will become second nature. Feel free to download the charts used in this video from the resources section on my Accelerando Piano website and refer to them whenever you need to.